Hello and welcome to another Sinister Sunday. Happy anniversary! Today is our 100th episode of Sinister Sunday. So, for something special, I am going to replay the first episode I ever made of Sinister Sunday. I didn't edit it or anything. We're just gonna play it and we're gonna go over it together.
What do you kids want?
Hello, Squad Famz. I hope you're doing well. Today, I wanted to start a series and put it on the channel called Sinister Places. And these are all the places that I would love to investigate but cannot get to. So I want you guys to let me know down in the comments below if you like this idea. Today is going to be the first segment and we'll see how it goes. So our first segment of Sinister Places takes place up in the Himalaya Mountains. And this is called Skeleton Lake. And just the name of it sounds sinister. Tucked up far in the freezing snow-covered mountain ranges of the Himalayas, at the dizzying height of 15,700 feet above sea level, is the Skeleton Lake. Its actual name is Rapukund. It's a small body of water. At a roughly 130 feet or 40 meters in diameter, you could basically put this lake inside a football field and still have a little wiggle room. So it's not very big. But the little lake has a big reputation. It's where the mystery of the dead is still very much alive. The body of water, commonly known as Skeleton Lake, is the final resting place for what scientists estimate to be 500 to 800 sets of human remains. Now, if you think that place isn't haunted, it's a super mysterious lake where hundreds of people meet their death in the icy Himalayas. And there it continues to preserve their remains for eternity. Just try to imagine it. I think that's when it feels the most spooky. 500 to 800 skeletons just lying abandoned deep in the Himalaya mountains. Just feed your imagination. Spooky. In 1942, an Indian forest official discovered the skeleton remains scattered in and around the lake. He reported the strange discovery, but it wasn't made public until the late 1950s. That's a long time to keep a whole bunch of skeletons hidden. Everyone has skeletons in their closet, but if I had a lake in my backyard, I don't think I'd keep them there. In the 1950s, National Geographic reported that one explorer told an Indian radio station that the scene itself was so ghastly that it made them catch their breaths. Yeah, if I saw a whole bunch of skeletons, that would be one way to say it. Although I'd probably have my spirit box out and tell you a different story. I would really like someone to do a spirit box there. Although I wouldn't recommend going there because you don't want to be a skeleton yourself. It was initially believed that the skeletons were Japanese soldiers or Tibetan traders who died due to an epidemic or from exposure to the unforgiven elements of the Himalaya mountains. However, forensic analysts in 2004 revealed unhealed injuries on several skulls that led scientists to conclude that a group of Indian pilgrims, both men and women, assisted by local porters from the region, were struck by giant hail in a single event in the 9th century. You think hail made all these people die, 500 to 800 in one little place? Not sure about if that was a town or something, but it's a little lake that's not even the size of a football field, as we discussed. So what were all those people doing there? Doesn't sound quite kosher to me. Okay, so that theory was plausible at the time, 2004, because the group did comprise of both men and women of various ages, which ruled out the possibility that they belonged to soldiers, because at that time women were not soldiers. But from a meteorological perspective, killer hail is unlikely due to the high altitude of where Skeleton Lake is exactly. AccuWeather senior international meteorologist Jim Andrews stated. So basically, there's no way you're getting that hail up there that's going to kill people. He's not having that answer. Mr. Andrews describes that at such a high elevation, there seems not to be enough heat nor moisture to breed killer hail. The conditions are just not right. Andrews didn't completely rule out the possibility, given that this is an event that took place more than 1,000 years ago, but generally the conditions at that location is at far above sea level as that lake would be. Limited, repeated freeze, thaw, wet, freeze cycles necessary to produce large hail. He said the conditions there would favor small and or soft hail, but not very seriously overly large icy hail. So, in part of the investigation in 2004, they said there was no weapons or signs of combat that were found at the site, but they did find musical instruments. So maybe a cult kind of thing, or they were calling the rain or hail. Suspicious. These musical instruments that they found at the site were consistent with old folk stories of pilgrims traveling on down that area. The victims were also healthy when they died, which ruled out any mass epidemic theory that they had. One of the scientists completed the trek that leads past Skeleton Lake in September of 2009, and she told AccuWeather that at the time she was excited about hiking so high in the Himalayas. You have to be reasonably fit to be able to walk for 5 to 10 days, and the temperature obviously changes, fluctuates from 20 degrees Celsius in the plains or the lower hills to 0 or sub-zero once you reach 4,000 to 5,000 meters. She said, so she was referring to the temperature range from about 68 degrees to below freezing. The lake is at 4,800 meters. So you're talking it's cold right where the lake is, because it's almost sub-zero. Well, it is sub-zero according to her temperature, because it's between the 4,000 and 5,000 meter mark. So she was with a large group when she set eyes on Skeleton Lake. She said that before the group arrived, her guide had told them the most popular story behind the human remains. Pilgrims were caught in the hailstorm, quote, quote, but nobody really knows. It was very freezing and it was very cold, but once the sun is up, it's like a nice ski day. It's just that early in the morning when you're walking in the dark, that's when the cold is really miserable. Yeah, even here in September, it was like 40 degrees when I woke up the other day. Yikes! Too cold for me. While they were there, they saw some skulls and the leg bones and big arm bones, and all these things just piled up. It's not like you just walk in and there are just skeletons all over. Some of them are in the lake, apparently, and some of them are probably buried in the slopes and in the snow. So sometimes when the snow was completely melted, you could see them. But when we went, the whole region was completely covered in snow, so we couldn't see any other skeletons scattered around apart from a little pile. So, question. They obviously studied these bones, the scientists and everything. They're just going to leave them there? Wouldn't you bury them? Like, I don't know. Like, let's just leave them there and have tours and tell people stories that are untrue about how they died. And like, oh no, I'd be pissed. And I definitely probably come back and haunt those people who came to see over and over, like the tour guide. I'd be like, hey, dude, that is not what happened. So just a year after they took that trek and seen a few bones and stuff, the first ancient human genome was sequenced, revolutionizing research into the past. I don't know what that is, but it must be some kind of genetic thing. I don't know how that's going to help them figure out how they died, but let's find out. The cold case of Skeleton Lake was heating up again. Bone samples from 38 skeletal remains were sent to labs around the world for full genomic analysis. The results of the 5-year-long study published in 2019 were stunning. The new study revealed that the 38 skeletal remains belonged to 3 genetically distinct groups and were deposited at the lake during multiple events over a 1,000-year period. So, where they thought it was all the same time, it was not. That lake is just taking you one at a time at a time. And now, I wonder if they found out how they died. Let's see. Okay, so the results showed that there were 23 people with South Asian ancestry, but they died during one of the several events between the 17th and 10th centuries AD. Incredibly, the study revealed another group of 14 victims died there 1,000 years later, most likely during a single event in the 19th century. Furthermore, this group had a genetic ancestry tied to the Mediterranean, specifically Greece and Crete. Hello, Greek people in the Himalayas. You wouldn't catch me there. Too damn cold for me. Anyway, there was one sample that had Southeast Asian origin, also from the 19th century. Now we see people died in multiple events between the 17th and 10th century, and someone else died in the 18th or 19th century. So now we don't know exactly what happened at all. Of course they don't. The lake is just sucking the souls from these people. Spooky. Sinister. So the discovery of the Mediterranean migrants in India is particularly surprising. Yeah, Greeks don't normally go to India. There is no historical evidence or explanation for who these people were and what they were doing deep in the Himalayan mountains. The year 1800 is not that long ago. I feel like the 80s was long ago now. Anyway, people would remember if something unusual happened. I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, okay? I don't know about that. I just think in the 1800s, maybe when the guy decided to take a vacation from Crete and went to the Himalayas, didn't expect it to be so damn cold and wasn't used to it and just died from being cold because they probably didn't have down jackets then. I mean, who the hell knows? Greek people don't belong in the damn mountains. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I think it would have passed down in history, or it must have been there in a collective memory of locals because it's pretty remote place. So if a foreign looking group came through and they all perished in the mountains, it seems highly unlikely that no one would remember such a bizarre incident. The locals killed them all and ate their skin and left the skeletons there. Who knows? Cannibals, maybe. Interestingly enough, advancements in science have raised more questions than answers. Yeah, there you go. The mystery of what happened at Skeleton Lake does not appear any closer to being solved. But if you got a spirit box in there, I guarantee somebody would be talking. Yes, they would. It's a difficult archaeological site due to its remoteness, extreme weather, and the fact that over the years the skeletons have been moved around by trekkers and even taken home as souvenirs. Who the hell is doing that? In fact, the trek became so popular, that they had tour guides that are telling the wrong information. But anyway, it's banned to walk by there now. More than a decade after that frigid morning, when they first looked over Skeleton Lake, the story continues to grip their imagination. But with such little evidence, they wonder if the world will ever know the truth about what happened there. Who are these people? What happened there? Why are they all going there to die in that one lake? Yeah, it's an interesting story. I don't know how this will ever be solved, if we'll ever know what happened to those 800 bodies that lie there in that watery grave. Well, Squad Fam, I hope you enjoyed this first segment of Sinister Places. Let me know down below how you like this segment. If you have any places you want me to talk about, let me know. If any of you's been to Skeleton Lake and have pictures or video, hey, email me. I will put that in because that would be so cool. Alrighty, guys. Squad Fam, I'll see you on the next segment or adventure or somewhere around the tubes. Take care, Squad.
What do you kids want?
feet above sea level. Let's try that again, guys. One explorer described the site as an Indian radio station as a ghastly scene that made us catch our breath. I said that wrong, didn't I? That a explorer told an Indian radio station that the scene...
Yes, you've got.
Goddamn text message, I'm busy. It was initially believed that the skeletons were Japanese soldiers or Tibetan traders. Did I say that right? Who died during the epidemic. Let's try this again. Eventually, I'm going to get this whole thing taped. Andrews, who closely observes meteorological for full genomic analysis. I said that all wrong, but I think we're leaving that, guys. The result of the 5-year-long study published in 2019 were stunning. Oh no, I guess this is a good part of the story. We're going to have to do it. Well, I know that if you just take the bodies out of there and bring them back to where they belong, like take the Greek people back to Greece and let them bury them. I mean, come on.
Trick or treat. What do you kids want?
Thank you so much for watching this back with me. I want to take this time to thank all of you for supporting my channel. We appreciate it. And big shout out to our members. We love you guys.